Hello viewers and subscribers. Welcome once again my new screencast. Today I try to introduce a new screencast. This screencast will be the multicast screencast. The mainly focusing the to using how can you use the plain JDBC and also the Spring JDBC, and it's with the Spring JDBC different approaches for the templates. I mean the JDBC template, simple name template and simple template, those things. And I already discussed about my screencast number 37 dot something. It was discussion about how can you start the U development, how can you expose your REST endpoint or web services based on the Spring Data JPA and JPA and also the Hibernate and Hibernate Spatial. Because if you look this my Angular based GUI, you saw there is a Angular forms and there is Angular reactive forms, and there is a in down level there is a maps, and this is the GUI spatial maps. That means from the maps you can store your coordinate points into your backend server. After that, when I store the information, backend server you can read it, and then again to build into the maps. That was the idea for this application. It was really Angular and TypeScript based application. What I did, just like make all the mockups, all the GUI is done. That means you can do all the CRUD operation, even though you can build with the geo, geo and non-geo part. That means geo part means you can take the coordinates points or your geometries from the different type of maps like Google Map or OpenStreetMap or Yahoo Map. It doesn't matter which map you are trying to use, and then build your functionalities. That's the Angular based application. It was the number 35 up to 45. It is not already finished, but I started the forms and then all the navigation bar, and even the linguist translation is there. So just follow the screencast number 35.1 up to 35.45. There is a detail, and this detail screencast is a 45 screencast. You can follow that one because that was the idea. How can I build all the REST endpoint or web services to integrate those services into the Angular and TypeScript framework, the GUI framework. That's why I'm trying to do with the screencast like 37 and also the screencast 38, because I try to make my ORM server, I try to make my models, or I try to expose my CRUD operation or many more functionalities with as REST endpoints and then REST services, and then call the services in any front-end framework. Doesn't matter it is the Angular based frameworks, or it's a reactive framework, or any other template based frameworks like Timeleap template engine or Groovy template engine, even the free marker template engine and other template engine, or Velocity template engine, depending which template engine. I already did the two example for Timeleap template engine. You can very quickly build the application with the Timeleap and free marker also, even though I did some application to build the JSP Java Server based application to build that, even though there is another applications, I don't know which number it is. It's Gale based technology. That means if you have endpoints, all the REST services in your hand, and then your decision, which framework, your company decision, or your resource allocation, or what resource you have it or what skill you have it, you can use any front-end framework. It doesn't matter which framework you are using, because the idea look like that way. You expose your REST services or web services, and then doesn't matter which front-end technology you try to integrate or call those services and build your web application. That's why I said in my last screencast, because nowadays the application is scared to go to the microservices approach. That means all all services, one application may be using the 10 microservices. Doesn't matter if you think about like PayPal or eBay or Amazon, because if you look for the Amazon one page, if you make a order, maybe there is a 10 or 20 microservices called from the different microservices or different part of the applications. That's why nowadays there is nothing more about the monolithic application. There is a microservice based architecture application. That's why I'm trying to do to make such a REST endpoints, the REST services, and then after that within the based on these REST services I can call, I can integrate, or I can develop any front-end based template based engines or framework. Doesn't matter it's Java based or it is C based or if Python based, or even though is it simply in JavaScript based framework, then you can integrate those services and build your operations, build your services. That was the idea, and that's why I'm trying to cover here how our old plain JDBC or standard JDBC and Spring JDBC works, because we have, if you have a really big monolithic application, you come to the play in the microservice application. That's why you need to migrate all the database communications, what you had it already into the plain JDBC, and you need to move into the JDBC, Spring based JDBC, and after that you have to be think about which approach you need to be template, like your connections or closing or opening. That's why I'm trying to give it to you. This screencast really special, how you can move from one technology to another technology, and how can you build the microservices, I mean the REST services, and expose those services, and after that you can use those services into any framework, any GUI framework or UI frameworks. That's the intention for to build this screencast. This is a really important screencast. You need to be concentrated when you have to be understand, because in this case you need to basic understanding the Java programming, and even though SQL programming, and even though Spring and Spring Boot framework and Spring Boot programming, then you need to be get it idea, because it's top level, but you need to be basic idea. Just Google it and get it basic idea and start those screencast, and I think you can get it more information from here, or you can directly integrate the development source code. I will develop the next screencast, how can I do this integration, how I did the REST point endpoint development, testing, and then the deployment into the client. That's thing. Let's continue the presentation part first. So you get the idea of what I mean for this one. Just follow that one. So if you see the what are the difference between the plain JDBC, I mean the old school JDBC, and Spring based JDBC. So you see the plain JDBC is a JDBC technology in bound base layer. So with the base layer, that means the Spring JDBC top of this abstract layer. So it is the abstract layer on top of the JDBC technology. So that's information. That means in the bottom level, in the bottom level, there is no more anything you need to program yourself, or it's handled by the Spring JDBC itself. That's why it is important to understand how you switch on, switch off, or how can you come up from the plain JDBC to the Spring Boot JDBC. That was the idea, and then I try to give it to you the more information. How can you think? How can you get integrate those technology into your further or your monolithic application to the microservice application. So it is complex because everything need to be programmed, and it is the simple models from the Spring JDBC, Spring Data JDBC or Spring JDBC, and JDBC programming. It is the this is the extra layer that I said. You don't need to write down all boilerplate codes for the JDBC communication, to opening the connection, closing the connections, or open the statements, close the statement, or open the result set and close the result set. That's why it is important to come up the new technology, and it is important. Sometimes if you don't connection the your result set, or your connection is not still open, then you have a lot of problems in your server, in your backend server. And a lot of application, I have such experience like last 10 years I did it like that way. It's really terrible if you don't properly close all the plain JDBC connections and result set and statements and PPA statement or callable statement, and then you will some days later maybe there are too many connection exception is coming too. That's why I tried to give it to you. How can you do and what's the possibilities from the plain JDBC to Spring JDBC approach. So here's the really complete difference between the